Today, let's make some dumpster jam. As with many things I cook, I have no idea what I'm doing. My jam making experience is fairly limited. So I would caution against anybody actually following my example and my non-recipe. But you never know, it may turn out great, so pay attention. We're starting with some dumpster blueberries in a pot. Blueberries, I think, and I may be making this up, but I believe they have a lot of pectin in them. And that's what you need to make your jams and jellies coalesce. I believe this because of my experience in making smoothies with blueberries. If you don't drink a smoothie right away that has blueberries in it, it basically firms up into a solid mass. And my theory is that's because of the pectin in blueberries. I believe apples also have a lot of pectin, but not as much as blueberries. So anywho, we're starting with blueberries. And to the dumpster bloobs, we've added some dumpster straws. And then on top, I've added some cut up dumpster plums. I found a lot of really nice plums that were pretty firm, not ripe yet. I've cut up the ones that were softer so that they're either riper or bruised. I'm not sure which, but they're the ones that are going to become the jam. I'm going to put this on a low heat so that I don't burn it, which would be typical of me, and start to cook the fruit. Probably you're supposed to do something to remove the skins. I'm not going to. I'm going to end up just blending it all up together with an immersion blender. I'm probably the only one who's going to eat the jam. My older daughter probably would eat it because she's pretty adventurous with healthy things like homemade jam. In jam recipes I've seen, people have added a ton of sugar. I'm obviously not going to do that. If it's not sweet enough, maybe I'll add some Splenda, but I'm not going to put in a ton of white sugar. Anyway, we're going to get this cooking now, and we'll just see how it goes. Now, as the fruit's cooking for the jam, right there, I'm going to start some pizza sauce cooking in that pan, because I'm going to make little mini pizzas for the girls for supper tonight. I have dumpster olive oil, dumpster onions, dumpster garlic, dumpster tomatoes, peppers, dumpster mozzarella, tons of dumpster bread. I have mini naan from the dumpster that can be used for pizza crusts. I think Frugal Daddy actually found a package of mini pizza crusts in the dumpster, so that's where we're going. The other day, Frugal Daddy and I found in the Aldi dumpster several packages of this mozzarella cheese, these little mozzarella balls in olive oil. See, marinade. Now this is a different package. I've already used the mozzarella balls in a different recipe, but I saved the marinade, which I thought was oh so clever of me, and I'm going to use the olive oil to saute my onions to make my pizza sauce. So there's a whole bunch of olive oil going in. Now I've added 3 chopped up onions and 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, which I have in a package in the freezer. It took me a while to find it. I didn't even cut up the garlic. Why? Because I'm lazy. And 2, because I'm going to puree all of this. That's why I didn't even bother to cut the onions up very small. This is all going to be pureed, and it's all just going to look like red sauce. Because if there's anything chunky, anything the kids can recognize, they're going to vote no on this pizza sauce. But if I all have it pureed and it just looks like red pizza sauce, my theory is they'll be okay with it. So that's my story. That's what I'm sticking with. So the onions and garlic are going to cook at a very low heat for a little while I leave the room and tend to other things. And once they appear softened, I will add some tomatoes and green peppers. And once everything's cooked, I will puree it up, which you will see in mere moments. While the onions have been sauteing and the fruit has been simmering, I have been cutting up apples and loading the dehydrator. So I have 5 levels of apples going. I really haven't dehydrated fruit at all over the summer because it's just been too humid and it really wasn't working very well. But now that the air is cooler and clearer and not so humid, it's time to start making apple chips again, which I love. And I'm trying to get the kids to love too because I think they'd be a really healthy addition to their lunch boxes. They're a little iffy on them, but I'm sure I'll win them over eventually.
Never.
Back to the stove. The onions and garlic are looking good, so I'm going to cut up the peppers and tomatoes next. And the fruit's cooking along nicely. Pretty soon I will get the immersion blender and puree this up, hopefully without splattering boiling hot fruit liquid all over myself. And I'll just keep cooking it down until it's sort of a gooey, jammy consistency. There we go, tomatoes in. and peppers, and salt, and oregano. I think you do basil with spaghetti sauce and oregano for pizza sauce. I think the oregano is the only thing I'm using today that didn't come from a dumpster. The salt is from a dumpster. And now I'm going to puree up all this fruit and then put it back on the stove to cook it down a bit until it becomes jammy. I think at some point you want this to be thick enough so that it coats a wooden spoon. Or is that when you're making custard? I don't know. Okay, back onto the stove. I did taste it, and I have to say, it's pretty good. I can't say if it tastes like blueberries or strawberries or plums. It just has a sweet, slightly sour, fruity taste. The veggies are looking kind of thick, so I'm going to put in some tomato paste. This is not from dumpster diving. This was free, 100% free, from couponing. I'm going to put in some tomato paste and add some water and puree it all together until it seems to be the pizza sauce consistency of my dreams. Alrighty, we'll use the immersion blender and puree this all up too. I just splattered it all over myself. Alright, I'm shifting it all to a smaller pot so it will be deeper and the submersion blender can submerge and I won't keep splattering it all over my pretty, pretty outfit. Alright, it's just one cautionary tale after another with me. Back on the stove we go. Hi! Well, it's pretty tasty. I think it needs some more salt. It's pretty thick, but it's going to suit my purposes as the pizza sauce for the kids. It's relatively chunky, but it's going to be covered with cheese, so they're not going to really see all that. I think it needs a little bit more oregano, a little bit more salt now that I added all that tomato paste, but basically it's fine. And there's the jam. I just turned it off. It had been on a low heat for several hours. And I'm letting it cool down and thicken. It's pretty good, actually. I'm not doing the whole thing of putting it into the ball jar with the funky lid and the sealing it and the popping it and the exploding it and all that stuff. I'm just going to put it in Tupperware and put it in my fridge and eat it as jam because I didn't make a huge amount. Look, I'm doing a trick with it on the spatula. I have to say, it came out tastier than I expected. And there's the jam in its little Tupperware container now. You can see it has a really pretty purpley plum color. It's surrounded by some of its plummy friends for the artistic look of the video. And the picture that I'm going to put on Instagram. This jam would go really, really well with those oat cakes I used to make all the time that I haven't made in a while, but now I really wish I had a whole bunch of them ready to go because I would love to have some oat cakes with this jam right now. It's quite yummy. I think I need to make jam more often. I think I might be a jam genius. Jam it all. So for our little pizza crusts, we have options. We have these 3 mini pizza crusts. They were returned. Frugal Daddy got these out of the Aldi dumpster. They have a little rim so you don't slop your fillings over the edge, if that's an issue for you. They come with 3 packets of sauce, but we're not going to mention that to the kids because we're using Mommy's homemade sauce. Our other option for crusts are these mini naans that I pulled out of the Aldi dumpster. I got a whole bunch of these one night, and I froze a lot of them. I mean, they're in packages. I pulled these out of the package. They're a little bit smaller. They're thinner. These are kind of thick. I think these would be preferable, but the girls will have their choice of which they want to use. Cram them all on this with this huge cookie sheet that just fits in the oven. Alrighty, so we've got the sauce and we've got this block of mozzarella that I pulled out of the dumpster the other day, and I'm still not quite sure what the 36 means on there. Hopefully it doesn't mean that there are 36 different kinds of poison in this mozzarella cheese. I'm going to assume that's not what it means. So anyway, I will shred this up and we'll be able to make our little pizzas. There's the cheese all shredded up. No problems with it. Looks fine. Here's what the little mini pizzas look like. They just have a few more minutes to go. And this is what a delicious piece of toasted Dumspter sourdough bread looks like with some of my plum jam. Triumph! Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This little episode of Frugal Kitchen. What are we going to make with all that Dumspter food? If you haven't already clicked to subscribe, please hit that. If you haven't already clicked to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button. Comment below, give us a thumbs up, share on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Freakin' Frugal Dumpster Diving. And ring that bell!